People over 60 who regularly eat ultra-processed food experience cognitive decline 28% faster than people who do not. That comes from a JAMA neurology study, 10,775 people tracked for 8 years. One of the largest cognitive studies ever conducted. Stop assuming this is just aging. It isn't. In the next 15 minutes, I'm naming the 6 inputs overloading and destroying your memory and giving you the 3-step protocol that begins reversing the damage. And the one thing most people do every single night before bed, it is quietly erasing your memory while you sleep. You will not see this coming. Your brain has more storage capacity than any supercomputer ever built. It runs millions of processes simultaneously, never missing a beat. Now imagine plugging 100 extra devices into that system all at once. Corrupted files pile up. The cooling system overloads. The whole machine slows to a crawl. This isn't a metaphor. This is your brain right now, under the conditions of modern life after 60. There are 6 inputs doing this to your memory. We're going to name all 6, and then we're going to shut them down. Destroyer 1, the cortisol flood. Here's what nobody tells you about stress and memory loss. They are not just connected. They are the same process. Cortisol is your emergency hormone. Short term, it sharpens you, it narrows your focus, floods your muscles with glucose, and turns you into a hunter. But keep cortisol elevated for months, from financial pressure, health anxiety, relentless worry, and it becomes a toxin. It floods the hippocampus, your brain's memory command center, and begins killing neurons. Not slowing them, killing them. Research measuring cortisol across large population groups shows that high-stress individuals have measurably smaller hippocampi than low-stress individuals, and measurably lower memory scores. On a brain scan, you can see it. Every week you spend in chronic stress is a week your memory center is physically shrinking. Here's what your doctor will not say. When chronic stress is removed, hippocampal volume increases and memory scores improve. The damage is reversible, but only if you stop the flood. Most people believe stress is just a mental problem. This is physiologically backwards. Stress is a structural problem. It is physically reshaping your brain. But the cortisol flood is just the first breach. What happens to your brain while you sleep, or rather what stops happening while you sleep, is far more dangerous, and it has a name. Destroyer 2, the Glymphatic Shutdown. While you sleep deeply, your brain runs its own microscopic sewage system. Brain cells actually shrink in size during deep sleep, opening channels that allow cerebrospinal fluid to rush through and flush out amyloid beta protein. This is the protein linked directly to Alzheimer's disease. The glymphatic system, your brain's internal waste clearance network, is almost completely deactivated while you are awake. Think of it as the maintenance window. It only runs at night. It only runs in deep sleep. Miss the window, and the trash does not get taken out. A 2024 study published in Nature showed that disrupted glymphatic function in poor sleepers directly underlies memory decline in aging adults. Harvard Medical School confirmed that chronic sleep deprivation increases brain disease risk specifically by degrading this waste clearance process. 1 week of poor sleep, 7 missed maintenance windows, toxic waste building on your memory neurons right now. And your doctor calls it normal aging. Most people believe that 5 or 6 hours is enough, that you can catch up on weekends. This is physiologically backwards. The glymphatic flush requires sustained deep sleep to complete its full cycle. Catching up on Saturday does not clear a week of accumulated toxins. The trash is still there. But here is what makes this worse. There's a third input actively inflaming the very neurons the glymphatic system is trying to protect, and it is in your kitchen right now. Destroyer 3, the inflammation siege, 28%. That is how much faster people who regularly eat ultra-processed food experience cognitive decline. That figure comes from JAMA Neurology, 10,775 individuals followed for 8 full years, published by researchers at Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health and the University of Sao Paulo. That translates to 28% faster global cognitive decline and 25% faster executive function decline. These are not rounding errors. This is generational brain loss documented in real time. Here's the mechanism. Ultra-processed foods trigger chronic systemic inflammation. Inflammation is the brain's operating system running a permanent background process, a virus scan that never stops, consuming every available processing cycle and leaving nothing for memory, retrieval, or focus. The American Academy of Neurology found that the highest inflammation group showed a 12% steeper cognitive decline than the lowest group, across the board. And this is where it gets counterintuitive. Stop eating ultra-processed foods disguised as heart-healthy snacks, that granola bar, that low-fat yogurt, that whole-grain cereal. They are not protecting your brain, they are fueling the siege. Ultra-processed food drives cognitive decline independently of weight, independently of diabetes. The damage is occurring in people who look completely healthy by every standard medical marker. Ultra-processed food currently makes up more than 58% of the average American's daily caloric intake. You are likely inside the siege right now without knowing it, but the inflammation siege requires you to eat for it to work. What I'm about to tell you requires nothing. No food, no phone, no stress. It just requires you to sit still. And that is exactly the problem. Destroyer 4. The stillness sentence. Sitting for extended hours physically shrinks the brain regions most vulnerable to Alzheimer's disease, even if you exercise every morning, even then. BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, is your brain's biological fertilizer. It triggers new neuron growth, strengthens memory pathways, and maintains the hardware of your operating system. BDNF requires consistent physical movement to be produced. When you sit still for hours, BDNF production stops. The irrigation shuts off. The fields go dry. Vanderbilt University and the University of Pittsburgh tracked 404 adults over the age of 50 for 7 years, published in Alzheimer's and Dementia. Their finding was clear. Greater sedentary time produces measurably worse cognitive performance and measurable brain shrinkage, independent of whether participants exercise regularly. Independent of exercise. Most people believe that a morning workout cancels out a day of sitting. This is physiologically backwards. The damage from prolonged sedentary time accumulates independently of exercise habits. Your 45-minute walk does not undo 8 hours of stillness. The brain needs irrigation running all day, not just once in the morning. Stop telling yourself the gym checked the box. The box stays open all day. But while your body is perfectly still, the digital world is doing something far worse. It is injecting the exact signal that prevents memory from forming at all. Every hour, every day. It has been happening since the phone landed on your nightstand. Destroyer 5. The signal scramble. Every notification. Every rapid scroll, every tab switch. Each one is physically interrupting the biological process that converts short-term memory into long-term memory. Your phone is not a tool. It is a memory shredder with root access to your operating system. Here's the mechanism. Memory consolidation is not automatic. The hippocampus must run a quiet replay sequence, re-recording the day's events into permanent storage. This is a serial process. The brain cannot consolidate memory and process new stimulation at the same time. It is biologically impossible. Research published in Nature Neuroscience confirmed that stress hormones triggered by uncertainty, the exact biological response fired by every notification alert, directly impaired declarative memory consolidation. The alert fires. The consolidation crashes. The file is lost. After 60, this replay sequence is already running slower than it did at 40. Every notification slows it further. Here's the consequence you need to hear. You are not forgetting because you are getting older. You are forgetting because your memory files are being interrupted before they can save. Entire days erased before you fall asleep. Now I want to be real with you. The 6th destroyer is the one nobody talks about because it is painful. And it is the most invisible input on this list. Destroyer 6. The isolation circuit. Chronic loneliness accelerates cognitive decline at a rate researchers directly compare to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. 15. Not because loneliness is sad, because social interaction is the brain's most powerful full system cognitive workout, and without it, the hardware degrades. Every real conversation simultaneously activates language processing, emotional regulation, memory retrieval, and executive function. 4 major brain systems running in parallel. No supplement, no protocol, no pharmaceutical product replicates this. National Institute on Aging. Longitudinal research links social isolation directly to accelerated memory decline, increased cortisol, reduced hippocampal volume, and significantly elevated Alzheimer's risk. These are measurable structural changes, not emotional ones. The human brain evolved across hundreds of thousands of years in tight social groups. Danger was social, survival was social. A brain without a tribe is a brain running a permanent threat response, with cortisol elevated, the hippocampus shrinking, and memory failing. Modern life after 60 is structurally designed for isolation. The commute ended. The kids moved. The neighborhood went quiet. The circuit went dark, and the operating system began degrading in silence. A brain without social connection is like a processor running without thermal paste. It still works for a while, until it doesn't. 6 destroyers, 6 simultaneous inputs overloading your system. Now here's the protocol to shut them down. The System Reboot Protocol. 3 inputs, 3 biological recalibrations. You can start the first one tonight. Drain. Cortisol is the root signal driving the flood, the isolation response, and the hippocampal shrinkage. You drain it through 10 minutes of deliberate parasympathetic activation, slow nasal breathing, cold water exposure, or low-intensity walking with no phone. This is not a wellness suggestion. This is a chemical signal correction. 10 minutes lowers cortisol measurably. The flood starts to recede. Flush. Protect your maintenance window. 7 to 9 hours of sleep in darkness with no screen 60 minutes before bed. This is the condition required for glymphatic activation. The channels only open in sustained deep sleep. Without the flush, amyloid beta accumulates. This is non-negotiable. Your brain has exactly 1 self-cleaning cycle. Do not skip it. Interrupt. Break your sedentary time every 45 minutes with 5 minutes of movement, no phone. Then after any meaningful conversation, learning or reading, give your hippocampus a 30-minute screen-free consolidation window. Let it replay the file. Let it save. Stop pulling the power cord. This single chain shuts down the signal scramble and restores BDNF production simultaneously. 1 interrupt, 2 destroyers eliminated. Drain, flush, interrupt. Starting tonight. The question is whether you're ready to take your operating system offline and let it actually repair. This protocol is for healthy adults. If you are managing a diagnosed cognitive condition or are on neurological medication, speak with your physician before making changes. The pharmaceutical industry profits from your decline. The food industry profits from your inflammation. The tech industry profits from your distraction. Not one of them benefits from a fully functional memory after 60. But here is what none of them can touch. Your hippocampus can regrow neurons. Your glymphatic system can flush the damage. Your brain can rewire itself at any age if you stop feeding it the 6 inputs that are crashing it. You are not losing your mind. Your mind is being overloaded by a system designed to keep you dependent, confused, and medicated. That is the honest diagnosis. You are not broken. You are running too many corrupted processes, and the reboot is 3 steps away. Drain, flush, interrupt. Not tomorrow. Tonight. Comment below. Which destroyer hit you hardest? Are you a flooder? Stress and cortisol have been running your system for years, and your hippocampus has been paying for it? Are you a scrambler? The phone is clearly the problem. You already know it, and you still can't put it down? Or are you a sitter, desk, couch, stillness, and that Vanderbilt finding just landed? Tell me which one. Your answer decides what we cover next. If this gave you something your doctor hasn't, hit that like button and subscribe. We are just getting started uncovering what the system does not want you to know about your own biology.